For those of you that are here, welcome. I know you already know me, but in the future for people when they show up and they don't know me, my name is Kim Flores. I am a board certified nurse practitioner and nutritionist. I am also the CEO of Savory Health Coaching. And I'm also a resident here. I live over in phase 3 now. So the purpose of this cooking class series is mainly to highlight not only the benefit of having our community gardens, using our community gardens, but really highlighting the importance of eating healthy, whole, unprocessed foods and making them exciting. So the ingredient that we are highlighting today is carrots. Now I have the notes on my phone that is recording this video of the type of carrots we're going to be highlighting today. Oh my gosh, I'm so mad at myself that I did that. The orange ones are sugar snacks, and the red ones are blanking on it off the top of my head. But what I do want to note is they're both, I wish I would have read this more times than like 3 times before I came here. It's Imperator, I think, which is the genus that they also most commonly sell in the grocery stores. So that's a fun fact. So this is the same genus that you'll see in the grocery stores. It's interesting because I julienne a store-bought carrot and these, and just the texture is a little bit different. But these tend to be the sweeter variant, which of course is why they sell them in the grocery stores, right? Because they're sweeter and everyone will buy them. But that was just a little fun fact that I didn't nail because it's in my phone, but I tried.
Farmer said mokum.
Mokum is the other one that's growing in the gardens right now, but all the ones that she harvested for this are not that one.
Okay.
So it's mokum, sugar snacks, and the red one is the one that I'm blanking on right now. But that's okay. But just for future knowledge that there are different variants, hence the reason they look different. My favorite one, just because it's pretty, is the purple carrot. Which goes back to the discussion we had last month about anthocyanin, which is the ingredient, the compound that causes things to be purple, and that's exactly what's in the purple carrot that helps it to be purple. Now, one of the biggest benefits of eating carrots is the carotenoids, also known as vitamin A. So a lot of us have commonly heard you eat your carrots because they're good for your eyes, right? And what I will say to that is true, 100%, but it's also good for other things like boosting our immune system and also helping us to age gracefully. Now, when I say age gracefully, I'm not talking about being young forever. I'm not talking about, being in denial of the fact that we do get older and there's really not anything we can do to stop it. But as I was reflecting on what I was going to talk about today and going into carrots are one of those magic foods that really does play a huge role in helping us to age gracefully. I was thinking about it because I talk to my clients about this on the fitness side of things as well. We're all going to get old, but what is our quality of life going to be when we're 80, 90 years old? I know for me personally, when I'm 80 years old, I still want to be cooking my own meals. I still want to be going to the store and I want to be doing my own laundry. Maybe not taking out the trash. Maybe my husband can still do that because he's a little younger than me. But you get what I mean. I want to be healthy enough in older age so that my quality of life is still good. And so carrots are one of those magical foods that's going to help us do that. Now, today's recipe technically doesn't involve cooking. So maybe it works out that it's a little bit of a smaller class. But what I have done is gathered all the ingredients, cut everything up, which kind of works out because we don't have our volunteer today, my handy dandy volunteer to help me chop things up. And I wanted to also show the versatility of our featured ingredient, i.e. the carrot. So what I have done is I have made ahead of time some carrot bread. Now, I grew up in the South. I grew up in Southern Maryland. Have any of you had zucchini bread before? Okay, so carrot bread, honestly, I never heard of it before I tried this, but it's the same thing as zucchini bread. So it's a sweeter bread. It's not a cake. It's a great way to hide veggies for the kids. But it's actually really, really good. And instead of using the zucchini, essentially you're replacing it with carrots. And just a fun fact, to get the carrots, I did the same thing, and I julienned them and really, really fine to get the shreds in the bread. Now, for allergy sakes, the bread does have dairy, has plenty of gluten in it, and it has walnuts. So if you're allergic to any of those, please do not partake. The main dish that we're gonna create today, which is the more savory side of carrots, is gluten-free. It does contain pistachios, and it does not have dairy. Let's double checking. Like, no, there's no dairy in any of these ingredients. Now, let me set my drink aside. So, what are the ingredients we're gonna need for this salad? As you can see, I have saved you all a very large amount of time staring at me julienning these beautiful carrots. Now, in order to julienne carrots, you are going to need a very simple tool, and that is your handheld julienne peeler. Now, I really like this one. I think I got it for like 15 bucks off of Amazon. I've had it for forever. I like this. It's dual side because one side is the peeler to peel like potatoes, apples, etc., and then you have the julienne part on the side, so it's multi-purpose. I'm all about buying more than one tool because I don't want a kitchen full of gadgets. Now, fun fact, when you are done peeling your carrots, and I'm not going to peel, especially because there's adult here. Do you all know how to julienne stuff? Have you ever julienned anything? Oh.
Not with a julienne.
What have you used? The mandolin?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because that's the other one that I was going to mention. This is the handheld. You can also, especially for bulk meals like this, you can use a mandolin slicer that has the julienne attachment to it, right? Which I have one at home. I couldn't figure it out because I don't have the instruction manual. So I use my handheld. But okay, so then I'm gonna actually demo that because it's really, really easy. Let me just pull this. So the first thing I want you to do when you're gonna julienne, and you have the benefit of doing this because you're gonna get your carrots from our local gardens, is keep the green stems attached, because when you go to julienne it, you can hold it by the stem. Versus if you are going to hold the carrot, say I cut this off, I have to hold it right here, and you can julienne it, but you're gonna have more of the carrot wasted, and you might cut your finger, because these are very, very, very sharp blades, obviously. I've already washed my hands, and this actually isn't gonna go in because I already measured that out, and it's more than enough. And you're literally just gonna scrape it down. It's just like peeling anything, but you can see instead of one wide base slice, it gives you these tiny little strands. It reminds me of hair, which is kind of gross. Please don't think of hair when you're eating this, but that's what it reminds me of. And it helps to make a better balance. And as I was julienning these, I wasn't paying attention, and a couple of the times I flipped it over on the slicing side. So you may notice a few pieces in there that are like wide slices and not juliennes. And the benefit of, you're thinking, well, like, why not just peel it or slice it, peel it? Why not peel it instead of julienne it? It's gonna make for a better balance of ingredient of, when you put a forkful in your mouth, you're gonna get a better ratio of carrot strands to the dressing to the chopped nuts, etc. But really, if you didn't have a julienner on hand, you could technically peel the carrots and it would be just as effective. Now, one of the other benefits of carrots that I forgot to talk about, do any of you have TikTok? Anybody?
Don't look at much.
So, do you have TikTok? Mm-hmm. Have you happened to see the viral TikTok video about the carrot salad that balances your hormones? Mm-mm. So I saw this video. The salad that she made is not the salad that I'm gonna make. It actually looked really gross, personally. It was like coconut oil and salt and carrots, and like that's it. But she promoted it as hormone balancing, and I think that's why it went viral, because it's like one of those buzzwords right now, balance your hormones, right? But the reason why it technically can help balance your hormones is because carrots are packed with fiber. And fiber is a prebiotic to our gut. Now, what does that mean? Anything that you eat that has fiber in it is going to feed all of the good bugs in our guts. And when you feed the bugs in our gut, they're healthy, they do their job. And what is their job? To absorb and get rid of all the bad stuff. They absorb all the nutrients from the food and they get rid of all the bad stuff. You know the way in which we get rid of bad stuff. I'm not gonna talk about it here because we all know about it. But that is also the way in which we get rid of certain hormones, primarily estrogen. And this applies to all of us, especially the men in the room, because men and women both produce estrogen, just in different varying amounts depending on life cycle, etc. And one of the main ways we get rid of estrogen is through excretion. So when we're eating things like carrot salad that are high in fiber, it is going to help us detoxify and get rid of loads of estrogen, because we all know everything and anything in excess is bad for us, and that includes estrogen. It can cause a lot of really bad side effects. I mean, not to doom and gloom estrogen because it has its role, but I mean, even if we drink too much water in excess, it could kill us, right? So that's another fun fact to the carrots. Now, I already have this, but what I will say is I'm probably gonna make a mess if I try to combine it all in here. So I'm gonna put it in this one. This is going to be the bulk of your time that it is going to take to make this salad. I don't wanna sugarcoat it. It took me almost an hour to do this. But also I started off really slow because I hadn't had any coffee yet, and I took a couple breaks. So maybe like half an hour. If you're really good with it, or if you have like a mandolin slicer, it'll probably be a lot faster, especially if you can do it like if you're doing a mandolin slicer, you can have like 2 or 3 carrots at a time to do. So yeah, this is the bulk of your time. So let's pretend that I just julienned all of these right in front of you guys. Ta-da! Fast forward ahead. Now, there's a couple of other key players in here, and where do I want to start? I guess I should read the recipe so I don't screw this all up. So I have the carrots as the main ingredient. The dressing, I want to put this in a smaller bowl, so I'm actually going to do that in here. And we have, let's start at the top. So I'm going to take 2 tablespoons of olive oil. Make sure you are always buying extra virgin olive oil, single source origin. You are much more likely to get a higher quality olive oil if you buy a single source. So if you look at the bottle and it says it's from Italy, Spain, and California, it's probably got rancid olives in it because they're just kind of taking leftovers when you get a single source one. And of course, there are certain labels for Texas. There isn't a certification or certifying body that they use for olive oils. But if, say, for example, you're buying one that's from California, California has their own specific label to certify that there has been a body that's gone in to regulate to ensure that they are utilizing the proper olives that they're supposed to be doing, and safe practices and things of that sort. So I've got 2 tablespoons of, this is the olive oil that I'm using just in case you want it. I want to say, I feel like I've seen this one at H-E-B. I know Nevia did not buy it from H-E-B, but I want to say this brand you can actually buy from the grocery store. I'm very choosy with my olive oils. We are lucky, we have H-E-B, and so they actually take pride in some of the things that they source. So there are a very small handful of good olive oils that you can buy from H-E-B. Otherwise, I usually go to like an independent shop, like a smaller store, to buy my olive oils and my vinegars, because vinegars produced are the same way. A lot of times they'll use rancid grapes. But H-E-B has a solid brand. Now, first I'm gonna do olive oil, and then I'm gonna do, I think the next one is lemon juice, but let's be honest, we're making a dressing, so it doesn't really matter the order in which you go. I'm just kind of combining and making sure I don't skip over an ingredient. And this is really convenient. I didn't have the luxury of these at my house, but look at these cute ramekins. So I already pre-measured everything out, so all I have to do is pour it in, so you guys don't have to watch me awkwardly measure everything into their right places. So we have lemon juice, olive oil. The next one is gonna be tahini. Now, this one, H-E-B accidentally delivered a spicy one. It doesn't smell super spicy, but just be aware that there's a little bit of punch in this. But it's gonna be so diluted down in the dressing that I don't feel like it's gonna make a huge difference. So if you are like completely averse to spicy foods, take caution. Bonus of a smaller group, because hopefully none of you are averse to spicy foods. It's not that much anyways. You don't, wait, you guys make the habanero sauces.
I make the habanero.
You don't eat it?
No. Oh, no.
Really? By the way, that sauce is really spicy. This will not be anything like that at all. I had to water it down. It was intense, but it lasted me a long time. All right, so we have tahini. I'm just gonna start stacking these. I'm gonna throw in, it's a 1/4 teaspoon of salt. These are this is a recipe where after you make it a couple times, you don't need to necessarily stay so specific to the measurements. You can kind of eyeball it. I love eyeball recipes because measuring is a pain in the butt sometimes. But I wanted to get the actual measurements for you guys just to make sure that it is on par to how it's supposed to taste. But say you don't like tahini, you can either omit it or you can use half of it, right? Say you don't like dates, you could just omit them. You know what I mean? Like you could, instead of dates, you could just drizzle, or dates or honey, you could do agave, or you could completely omit that if you're diabetic and you're trying to watch your carbohydrate intake. All right, so we have tahini, honey, which let me get a spoon. Did you guys want coffee? You know there's a fresh pot of coffee over here, just in case. I just smelt it, so I figured I'd remind you guys. Good enough. It's so quiet in here without the music.
Do you want me to play it?
I would, but then you won't be able to hear me on the
Yeah.
the recording. The next one, I have taken a whole entire clove of garlic and grated it up. Now, let's say you, actually let me use this. Let's say you don't have a grater. This is one of those things where you don't need a ton of equipment. You could finely chop this, or you could use like a garlic paste from the store. Because it's going in the sauce, it's not gonna make a huge difference, but what I will say is if you finely chop it, you might actually get a crunch of garlic and it might be kind of robust, just a FYI, but I have grated this, which is per the instructions. Then we have 1/4 teaspoon of cumin. I think that's it for the dressing. Now, as you can see, it's not a lot of actual dressing, but with the lemon juice, it's gonna really thin it out and be able to get in between. And again, that's one of the benefits of julienning the carrots and not just slicing it, because the dressing is gonna be able to fully penetrate through. Now, what I also wanna note is this is another salad that would be good to marinate, set it in the fridge for a couple of hours. I did not do that because I wanted to demonstrate. This is a cooking demonstration. But if you were to pour all of this, combine it together, and then set it in the fridge for a couple of hours, it might be able to penetrate the carrots and just be, you know how when something is like become more cohesive, it tastes a little bit better. But so I'm just gonna stir all this up. It's a little bit chunky because of the honey. There was clump in it, so I have to break it down. Any of you don't like carrots? Anyone? It's funny, preparing for this weekend, and because I always post the recipe to my blog, I happen to have like 3 or 4 conversations with people who don't like carrots. And I'm like, carrots is one of those safe veggies where if like you hate all the other veggies, you usually like carrots because they're sweeter, right? Mm-hmm. They tend to be. I had these conversations this week with people who didn't like carrots, so it was more of a challenge, and I'm like, okay, I want you to try this recipe and tell me what you think, especially with ones who said that they didn't like raw carrots, because I'm like, this is a great way, because when we think of eating carrots, what do we usually eat them like? How do you usually eat carrots?
Steamed. Yeah.
Usually steamed?
Steamed.
It could be the crunch, sometimes the texture thing.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Because I didn't used to like carrots either.
Yes, and so that's where I got the challenge with it, because I was like, well, if I julienne the carrots, it's not going to be as intense of a crunch when it hits your mouth, because they're really, really thin. So I'm actually waiting on the feedback of one of my clients, because he does not eat crunchy carrots, and he promised me that he was going to step outside of his comfort zone this weekend and try raw carrots and let me know. Haven't heard from him yet, but he's still got 2 days. So this is the dressing. I'm just gonna pour it in, and then we're gonna slowly mix all of this up. And I'm thinking I might need tongs. Do we have tongs, Grace?
Should have tongs here. Here's some. I've seen.
At some point, I will learn where everything is in this kitchen.
Oh.
Once I've used enough things.
Tongs, my lady.
Thank you so much. And Grace, if you want to grab a few of the, I think there's small plates over there, or like what we use, like the.
She put them right there.
Oh,
Those plates? She's ahead of you.
Yeah.
apparently I can't talk and look at the same time either. So let me mix this all up so we can start. Now what I'm gonna do, I've put the dressing in, I'm gonna start combining this, and then I'm gonna add in the bigger ingredients like the cilantro and the dates. And one last time, everyone's okay with cilantro? Are you okay with cilantro? Okay. Are you okay with cilantro? Okay. Okay, so now I'm gonna add some of this in. And then I wanna say pistachios are last. Anyone have fun plans for this weekend? This is the highlight of your weekend? It's okay, mine too. After being sick last weekend, I was like, I don't know how long it's gonna take for me to recover from this, so I am not making any plans at all. Apparently there was like solar eclipse sickness. I was like, is that what happened?
no. That's weird.
Like, but my eyeballs didn't hurt. Had nothing to do with my head, so I don't know. I just think it was a coincidence. Because I was sick on Monday after the eclipse.
There's a resident who does spiritual cleansings if you need that.
My husband said, and I quote, if you did have any demons in you, they definitely came out after that.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Said,
that's good.
husband,
You were,
it's
yeah,
good
you
we're married.
were really sick.
Yeah, I was bedridden. Okay, so this looks and smells amazing. And what I'm gonna do, just because especially there's only a few of us, I'm gonna top the pistachios on top at the very, very end as a garnish. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. It's easier to serve when there's less people here. So I'm gonna get all these off for you. It's a good thing I didn't double up this recipe. That's for sure. Because we would have had a lot of carrot salad.
Having carrot salad for dinner the next 3 nights.
Yeah. The real challenge, I'm gonna make this for my husband because he's one of those people. He doesn't like carrots. On a good day, he'll eat them cooked, but usually he won't eat them at all.
Nope.
Like if I can get him to eat this, then I feel like I've won at life.
Mm-hmm.
All right, everyone's okay with pistachios?
Okay. So what would you usually, is this something you can eat by itself or do you serve it? What would you usually pair this with?
This is a great question. So this could be easily made as like a meal in itself. What I would do is pair this with like chicken breast, because it pairs well with anything, chicken breast, chicken thigh, like grilled chicken breast or chicken thighs. Or easily as a side dish or an appetizer. Bring this out before your main course. And it's a really great way to sneak in some veggies. Especially you start with this, you end with that. So even if you don't like veggies in your main dish, you got in before and you got in after. You got a little bit of veggies in. Yeah, and this would also pair well with a light white wine. So maybe not a Chardonnay, but like a Pinot Gris. Something that's very, very light and fruity on the palate, just because it's a cold dish and there's not a ton of heavy flavors in it. So I'm gonna set these out for you guys. I'll get more plates for